They said appearances mattered. That prestige had a certain shape, a certain sound, a luxury car engine, a tailored suit, a last name whispered in polished law firms. So when her father told her to take the bus to her graduation, it wasn't just an oversight. It was a reflection of everything they believed about her. No one knew that behind the quiet daughter, behind the girl they dismissed in favor of her more accomplished brother, was the youngest self-made billionaire in tech history. She didn't need revenge. She built a revolution instead. And on the very stage where they expected her to fade into the background, she stepped forward and redefined what legacy truly means. Because sometimes, the one you overlook is the one silently building the future. The morning light spilled through the tall windows of the Walker family's luxury kitchen, dancing off the marble countertops and polished silverware. Olivia stood silently by the island, holding her graduation invitation, hands trembling slightly, not from nerves, but from quiet disbelief. "Take the bus," her father said flatly, never looking up from his phone. "Your brother has a car appointment that morning. He's finally getting that Tesla." No smile. No congratulations. Just another day, and another reminder that she was never the priority. Her mother busied herself with breakfast prep, avoiding eye contact. "You know how important this is for Andrew, sweetheart," she murmured. "He just made junior partner. First impressions matter. First impressions." That phrase had haunted Olivia for years. Andrew, the golden boy with his law degree and tailored suits, was their living legacy. She had chosen technology, algorithms, startups, things they never asked about and never truly cared to understand. "It's my graduation," Olivia said quietly. "From Stanford, with honors." But even her voice felt like background noise in a home where achievement was only valued if it looked a certain way. Her father finally glanced up, only to add, "It's not like anyone important is coming for you. No boyfriend. No job offer, right?" A silence fell, but in that stillness, something changed. What they didn't know was everything. And this moment, would become the exact reason they would soon remember her name forever. Back at her minimalist apartment in Palo Alto, far from the glint of Teslas and hollow praise, Olivia slid off her heels and sat in silence. Outside, the world saw a young graduate with no car and no real job. Inside, she was fielding calls from investors, AI developers, and world leaders. Her phone vibrated. "Miss Walker," chimed her AI assistant. "Walker Tech's board meeting is confirmed for 9 a.m. tomorrow. Also, Forbes has finalized your 30 under 30 cover shoot." She stared at the screen for a long moment, then slowly smiled. They had always talked about Andrew like he was the future. What they didn't know was that she had quietly built the future, piece by piece, while riding buses and living below the radar. Her crypto platform had gone viral in Asia. Her latest blockchain product had doubled in market cap overnight. And her quantum computing prototype, rumored to break every modern encryption, had already caught the attention of the Pentagon. But her family never asked. And so she never told. They thought she was playing with tech toys. They never noticed the $13.8 billion empire rising quietly under her name. And now, with graduation just days away, Olivia wasn't angry. She was ready, not to prove them wrong, but to finally show the world what they never bothered to see. 3 days before graduation, the phone rang. It was her mother. "Honey, about the ceremony, we might be a little late." Her voice tiptoed around guilt. "Andrew's Tesla needs some custom modifications. You understand, right?" A pause. "Of course," Olivia said softly. "The bus usually gets me there on time." She hung up before her mother could hear the catch in her breath or the steel forming in her resolve. Andrew had always been the center of every celebration. The photos, the speeches, the pride. He was their narrative, the perfect son with the perfect path. Law school, promotion, prestige. They bathed him in spotlight. And Olivia, she was a side note, a detour, the girl with potential, who never seemed to live up to what they wanted, only because they never bothered to ask what she wanted. Earlier that week, Andrew had texted her, "Getting the plaid Tesla. Maybe you can get a ride sometime, winking face." She stared at the message. Outside her window sat a Bugatti, purchased during a private meeting with Elon Musk himself. Next to it, her custom Tesla, the one with autonomous software built by her own company. But the irony wasn't lost on her. She had always let them believe the story they wanted to believe. Until now. Because this time, on her day, Olivia wasn't showing up quietly. She had orchestrated something far greater than a dramatic reveal. She was about to rewrite the ending of their story and start one of her own. The morning sun rose over Stanford's campus like a quiet drum roll, warming the stone paths and red rooftops Olivia had walked for 4 years, unnoticed, uncelebrated it. But today was different. She dressed with deliberate grace. A tailored Chanel suit beneath her graduation robe, subtle diamond studs, a timepiece gifted by a world leader whose AI initiative her company had rescued in silence. Her phone buzzed with messages, CEOs, prime ministers, people who saw her not as someone's daughter or sister, but as a force of innovation in her own right. Miss Walker, her assistant's voice echoed through her Bluetooth earpiece. The dean has the speech prepared. The media embargo lifts right after the announcement. Also, your Bugatti is polished and ready outside. Olivia smiled. No bus today. As she approached campus, the crowd swelled. Parents with cameras, students laughing, proud tears everywhere. Her family arrived right on time, pulling up in Andrew's brand-new Tesla, beaming as though the day belonged to them. And in a way it did, because they still had no idea. She walked right past them. Not hidden, not hurried, just poised. Inside the auditorium, she took her seat among the graduates. Her breath was steady, her mind sharp. From across the hall, she could see her father scrolling through his phone, her mother admiring Andrew's key fob, and Andrew taking selfies, his car perfectly framed behind him. They had no clue what was about to happen. And that was the beauty of it, because sometimes the most powerful entrance is the one you make without them even noticing, until it's far too late. The dean stepped up to the podium, straightening his robes. A hush rippled through the packed auditorium. Mothers leaned forward, fathers raised their phones, and students stilled in their chairs. Before we begin conferring degrees, the dean began. Stanford wishes to recognize a graduate whose contributions have already changed the world. A flicker of confusion passed over Olivia's family. Andrew leaned back, smirking, probably expecting another award for top debate team. Their father barely looked up from his phone. But then the words came. At just 24, she has built a global tech empire, revolutionized quantum computing, and reshaped blockchain infrastructure as we know it. Her innovations have created over 20,000 jobs worldwide. And this morning, her company's market value surpassed $13.8 billion. The silence was absolute. Mouths parted. Cameras froze midair. Please join me in celebrating Olivia Walker, founder and CEO of Walker Tech Enterprises, Stanford's youngest self-made billionaire and our largest private donor in history. The auditorium erupted. Gasps, cheers, thunderous applause. Olivia rose slowly, smoothing the creases in her robe. She could feel every eye on her now, including the only ones that had never truly seen her. Her father's phone slipped from his hand. Her mother's lips trembled as her graduation program slid from her grasp. And Andrew, still holding his precious Tesla keys, looked like someone had hit delete on everything he thought he knew. Flashes from photographers lit up the air as photos of her companies, awards, and innovations filled the screens behind the stage. Everything she had built in silence now lit the room in blinding brilliance. And then, the final surprise. Miss Walker, the dean smiled, would you care to say a few words? She stepped toward the podium, the thunder of applause still echoing behind her. And in that moment, before she even spoke, the message was clear. They hadn't just overlooked her. They had underestimated a revolution. The room fell into reverent silence as Olivia approached the podium. Her steps were quiet, but her presence roared louder than any applause. She removed her graduation robe with calm precision, revealing the custom Chanel suit beneath, powerful yet elegant, understated yet undeniable. For a brief moment, she scanned the crowd. Then, her voice, measured and clear, cut through the stillness. Thank you, Dean Matthews. 4 years ago, I walked onto this campus with nothing but a dream and an algorithm. A ripple of light laughter. Olivia smiled, just enough to soften the weight of what was coming. While others studied to follow paths already paved, I was busy building roads that hadn't been mapped. While some measured success by internships and new cars, I stayed up building code, launching platforms, solving problems no one else even saw. She let her gaze drift toward the crowd until it landed squarely on her family. To some, I looked directionless, unimpressive, invisible. But sometimes, the most extraordinary things happen quietly while everyone else is too busy looking the other way. Gasps echoed as her latest stock price flashed across the screen behind her. Walker Tech up 12% just since that morning. A gentle reminder. She hadn't just succeeded. She had soared. And yes, Olivia added with a composed smile, I took the bus. Not because I couldn't afford a ride, but because while others were showing off their vehicles, I was busy building an empire. Applause thundered through the auditorium, but her eyes remained focused on one man in the crowd whose stunned expression said more than words ever could. Her father. Success, she concluded, isn't about who claps the loudest. It's about who keeps building, even when no one's watching. She stepped back as the entire room stood for her. Some applauded for her brilliance, others for her courage. But one thing was certain. No one would ever see Olivia Walker the same way again. After the ceremony, a sea of handshakes, flashbulbs, and congratulations swirled around Olivia. Industry titans, professors, and alumni lined up to meet the woman whose story had just redefined what success looked like at Stanford. But Olivia's eyes scanned the crowd for only one group. Her family, now slowly making their way toward her like people walking through fog. Her mother looked fragile, mascara smudged beneath her eyes. Her father, usually firm in posture and expression, suddenly appeared uncertain, as if he just realized the ground beneath him was made of assumptions. And Andrew still held the Tesla keys in his hand, but now like a child clinging to a toy he no longer understood. Olivia! Her mother's voice cracked, tentative. How? When? Olivia smiled gently, but not apologetically. While you were focused on Andrew's law career, she said softly, I built something you never even asked about. But why didn't you tell us? Her father asked, clearly shaken. We're your family. Exactly, Olivia said, with a grace sharpened by years of being overlooked. And that's what hurt. You never asked what I was doing, only what I wasn't doing. She turned to Andrew. All those times you joked about me taking the bus, she said. You never imagined I might have been driving something bigger, just not on your map. He opened his mouth, but said nothing. Just then, Olivia's assistant appeared discreetly with a tablet. Miss Walker, Mr. Musk is on the line. He's ready to confirm the orbital partnership. Tell him I'll call him back, Olivia replied, her eyes never leaving her father. I'm having a family moment. The pause that followed said more than any outburst ever could. Finally, her father stepped forward, not with bluster, but with something rare in him, humility. We were wrong about you, he said quietly. So focused on what we thought success should look like, we missed what it actually was. Olivia nodded. I didn't do this to prove you wrong, she said. I did it to prove that I was right to trust myself, even when no one else did. She handed her father a black card, simple, matte, with just her name in silver. Olivia Walker, CEO, Walker Tech Enterprises. Dinner's at 7, she said. Penthouse suite. Bring Grammy. She believed in me first. And Andrew, she turned to him with a half smile. Maybe park the Tesla around back. The front spots are reserved for Forbes. As she walked away, a circle of executives closed in to discuss IPO details. Cameras flashed, and behind her, her family stood still, not rejected, not punished, just finally, utterly awakened. Because the daughter they once ignored had just quietly changed the world. Sometimes, the most powerful revolutions don't begin with noise, but with quiet defiance. A daughter dismissed, a vision doubted, a legacy born not out of vengeance, but conviction. Olivia Walker didn't raise her voice. She raised the standard. She didn't fight to be seen. She became undeniable. While others measured worth by luxury cars and polished resumes, she measured hers in impact. Lines of code, minds inspired, futures reshaped. And when the moment came to reveal the truth, she didn't shout. She simply stood up and let the world look again. Because the most unforgettable success stories are not about proving others wrong, but about staying true long enough to become impossible to ignore. So the next time someone tells you to take the bus, smile quietly and keep building your empire. Because one day, when they finally look up, you won't need to explain a thing. Your work will speak louder than their doubts ever did.